Welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we are going to be doing a fun Glowforge project for Father's Day. So let's go ahead and dive right in. First, let's go ahead and start off with the file that I'm using today. It is from this really cool bundle here. And as you guys can see, there is several of these different files that you can see. So there's this one. This is the one that I'm using today. What's really cool is you can insert the kiddos' photos in here. So this is such a great gift for dad to put on his office desk. Maybe you want to put it in the living room, on the mantle. It's just going to be a great gift. So I'm doing this one today, but there is several of these to choose from. Like I said, it's a really great file. I almost made this one for you guys today, but I thought, you know what? We haven't done a photo frame, so let's go ahead and do it. So the very first thing that you want to do is download your file, which I have already done here. So once you download it, it's going to pop right up here at the top. You're going to double click and it's going to open up that file. So from here, we can see there is several different ones here. So the one that we are actually looking for is the photo frame. So once you click on that photo frame, you're going to have a few different choices from SVG, your JPEG, things like that. So let's go ahead and get ready to take this over to the Glowforge. Once you're over here at the Glowforge, what you simply have to do is I have already loaded my material inside of my Glowforge. So as you can see here, I use the medium draft board. So once you've loaded this in here, you have a blank canvas to work with. So you want to do that right away. Turn on your Glowforge, put your materials inside. If you're using a proof grade like I did here from Glowforge, it's automatically going to choose those settings for you. Now, if you don't and you've already masked it, you can go into your settings as you can see right here. So if you click right here on the left, you can go through here and choose those proper settings. So I've already got mine set up there. All I need to simply do is bring in my design and resize it. To upload your file, all you simply need to do is click on the plus right here. From here, you're going to click on the upload icon. And then you're just going to simply open up your folder. So as you can see here, we have 4 folders inside of our folder. And the one that I'm looking for is that photo frame. And then from here, the ones that we're able to actually use with the Glowforge are going to be highlighted. So the one that I've actually used today is I actually use this SVG one right down here. And then I'm going to click on the upload. So as you guys can see, it's going to take just a second. It's processing, bringing it in. Now, what I want to do right away is downsize this. So while they're all selected, I'm going to go ahead and come down here to my sizer tool because I know that I want these to be 5 inches tall. So while they're all selected, I want it to be 5 inches. So I've selected my little ruler down here. We're going to come over here to the height, and I'm simply going to put in 5, enter. So this is automatically going to change all of those to the same height. So that's what I'm doing. I did all of these 5 inches high. From here, I just simply need to load them on my board. So I'm going to go ahead and start to load those. So as you can see, we have a blank canvas here. And when you move these around and place them in frame, if they're ready to cut, they're going to turn red like this. So if I was off a little bit, you may notice that it's maroon or blue or things like that. But once you come into frame and it's actually going to cut, it's going to turn red. All right, so we can go ahead and grab 2 more of these. And so I'm going to go ahead and scroll over here and grab another one. And we actually have 2 more to go. So with this first cut, I was able to get 4 at one time. So once you're ready for this, I have 4 of these loaded. If I scroll all the way over, you can see that I still have 2 files. I can actually select both of those and drag them over here so that way I can keep them close by for the next cut. So once you're completely ready for this, everything's ready to go, you're simply going to go ahead and hit ready. So from here, it's going to go ahead and start scanning that material. It's going to start prepping the print and tell us exactly how long it's going to take to cut. So as you can also see here on the left-hand side, it's set to cut already for us. If it wasn't, we would want to go ahead and click on it and then change it to either engrave, score, etc. So we have it on the cut. And like I said, since I'm using proof grade materials, it's for that medium draft board. All of my settings are already there for me. So as you can see, this is going to take 18 minutes to cut out. So all I would simply have to do now is go over to my Glowforge and hit the big button and send it off. Now, once I was done with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel here and hit hide. There we go. So once I was done with this and I was ready for my next 2 pieces, what I would simply do is select everything like so. You can either move it down or just go ahead and hit the delete on your keyboard. From here, I'm going to go ahead and grab our next 2 layers here and bring those in. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and line these up with whatever's going to work best to save the most material. So I'm just going to line them up like so. And then once again, I'm going to click on that ready. It's going to tell me how long. I'd head over to the Glowforge and hit that go button. So like I said, because I did these at 5 inches, and you can go ahead and click on that ruler once again, which is already highlighted. These are 7 inches wide by 5 inches high, and that's what I got for these. So once you're done, that's it. So let's go ahead and drop the camera down and start putting this thing together. All right, so as you can see, I've already cut this guy out. You can see there is several layers here. So we have all these different pieces here. So cool. Now I still have my protective cover, that masking tape on all of these we've got to pull off. So there's this one, and then we have this layer, and then we have these 2 back pieces. Now this piece right here, so what you're going to start off with is our very back layer here, which is going to be your solid. Then your next layer is going to be this one with the dividers, because this is where the photos are going to slide right in here. And then you're going to have this one. Now, if you wanted to with these photos, you could go ahead and put a clear piece of acetate right here on the back. So that way it would just line up here and protect those photos over time. And as you guys can see here, you're going to, over time, you can swap those photos out. So you can pull photos in and out of these little sections here. So that's what's really, really cool. And then you're just going to continue to layer these up. You can tell what piece is going to go on top by the more, detail that's kind of cut out there, just like so. Now, what I'm going to do here, we're going to take a weeding tool to pull all that mask off. And I do believe it's just on the front of these. So we're going to pull that off. I've got some Gorilla Glue, which I'm going to use a paintbrush for the small pieces to really get those down. And then what I'm going to do, the only one that I'm actually painting today is I'm using this by Folk Art. It's home decor wax in antique wax. So it looks just like this. I'll have it linked down below for you guys. So I'm going to use that along with some paper towels, possibly some sponges, paintbrushes. We'll figure that out as we go. So let's go ahead and start with our back layer here and start peeling all of these pieces here. I'm going to go ahead and just get my little weeding tool here. Now I am using MDF. So you may want to use wood. If maybe you were doing like a cherry wood or a walnut, you wouldn't even have to paint that. So what I would possibly do is do all of these MDF. And then my last layer, the very top one that I'm actually painting, do that the pretty one. So you can use your MDF. I use 1/8 inch, by the way, guys. And I'll have the ones that I use below. So these ones actually right here, I didn't even use the proof grade. These are $2.50, and I'll have the place where I purchased them in the link below. But like I said, I would use MDF. When you're gluing stuff together, don't waste your wood. Use all of these pieces here that are going to be glued together with that MDF, and then your final layer, use the really pretty walnut or cherry or whatever it may be. So that way you're not wasting a whole bunch of wood. So that's just a little tip for me as well. All right. So now our very last layer is this one here. And as you guys can see, that whole process was pretty easy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and carefully peel all of these pieces, just like so. All right. Almost. There we go. So this is going to be that layer that we are going to essentially paint or put on that wood wax, if you will. Another really cool paint that you could use is the Starcraft. If you guys have not checked that chalk paint out, I really love that as well. All right, so let's start gluing. Actually, let's start painting this with that wax so it can kind of dry, and then we will start gluing these pieces together. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a piece of parchment paper to protect my surface. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just lay this right in here. And that way we can protect the surface here. Now, this is obviously nonstick, but this stuff is going to stain it, and I don't want to do so. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the best way to do this. I think what I'm going to do is let's start off with a paper towel just to see if that works for us. I'm going to kind of fold this over a few times and get us a little corner here. So I'm just getting a little bit of that on there like so. And that's honestly probably a little bit too much. So I'll start with these bigger areas here and then kind of work my way around. So I'm just going to rub it in just like so. And it's going to look like stained wood. It's really cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and speed it up while I go through this process. All right, so I'm just kind of finishing up here. And as you guys can see, it really did not take hardly any product, and it didn't take a long time. So depending on how dark you want this to be, you could go over it a few times. Say, for example, if I wanted the mustache to be a little bit darker, I could do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and prop this up just to kind of see what I've got so far, like what it's looking like. And so I do believe I'll probably have to go through a few of these. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get the next one and possibly have to go through the next one. So I think my last one will be this one. And we're going to do these ones as well. So I actually, thinking back about it, with the walnut or the cherry, so it would probably be our first at least 3 layers, because then you could do this one with a little bit of that stain if you wanted to. If you were doing the cherry or the walnut, you would definitely want to do these 3 frames right here. All right. So I'm actually going to go ahead and set this one aside so it can kind of dry there. But once again, I'll bring that up so you guys can see how cool that looks. So once again, depending on the look that you're going for. Now, a few more things that you could use was like Tim Holtz, you know, his distressed ink pads. You guys could use those, would be really cool. Or his little alcohol inks, that would be really cool as well. But this stuff goes a very long way. And I think this stuff is around $1, so it's super affordable. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and complete these last ones here. As you guys can see, it was pretty easy to go over these. You can completely go over and saturate these as much or as little as you want to, depending on, like this looks a little bit more weathered. So just feel free to do whatever works best for you. So now what we need to do is we need to layer these guys up. So we're going to go ahead and start applying our wood glue. So hopefully you can see this look. Now you want to be careful. You may want to wear gloves with this because your hands are going to get a little bit dirty and stained. So just to kind of show you now that you can see that, I may actually want to go over this a little bit more. And you may want to let this dry down just a little bit because, you know, MDF board, if you guys are not familiar with it, it does soak up a lot. It's like an absorption sponge. So you may have to go over, you know, a couple of times. But this one right here, I think I just kind of missed a few pieces. It was my first one. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and add just a little bit more on my end pieces here. I definitely don't want to leave those. And then I could check that again. So I think that looks good now. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and then get a new piece of parchment, and we'll be right back. All right. So as you can see, we've got all of our layers here, and I've even went over the back just a little bit here, just where you're going to be able to see Dad. Now, once you put your photos, you wouldn't be able to see that, but if you definitely want it to look a little bit more complete, you may want to do so. So as you can see my edges here, I don't have to worry about those because it has those kind of burnt edges, if you will, from the Glowforge. All right, so let's start piecing this thing together. So we're going to flip this over and we're going to start with our back pieces here and just work our way up. So for this, what I can do here is I'm going to get a little bit of this glue on the surface here. All right, so I've got a little bit of wood glue here ready for us. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of work my way up from, you know, a bigger brush to the smaller one if I need to for the small detail stuff. So you can use a little foam brush like this, or even a paintbrush like this is going to work great. So I'm just going to go over this. You really want to make sure you're getting as close as you can to those edges. Now, remember, this glue will dry clear, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and very quickly work my way. Now you could definitely use a hot glue gun if you wanted to, but if this is something that you're going to sell and you definitely want it to last a long time, I would recommend doing something like a wood glue. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and go across this. I'll go over this with a foam brush just to see if I can't cover a little bit more area a little bit faster. All right. Like I said, you really just want to pay particular to those edges because you want to make sure that those edges are going to be stuck together very well. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this down like so. All right. So now we're going to come in. I'll get a little bit more of that glue out there, and I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces here. Once again, this does dry clear, so you don't really have to worry about anything. The glue that I'm using today, I do have it linked down below for you guys in case you are interested in the same one I'm using today. All right, once again, make sure you've got edge to edge coverage. We're gonna flip this guy over and we are going to pop it together. So what we want to do is make sure that from edge to edge all the way around, everything is flush. Everything is perfect. And then we're just going to kind of hold it there for a second. You could get yourself some of those clamps. I'll link some of those down below for you guys as well. So you guys can, along the way, if you want to, let it kind of dry in sections. Or once we're done with this, you want to add another clamp on, you could definitely do so to kind of help hold everything together. Now, this glue right here does dry fairly quickly. So it is kind of helpful during those layers. So once you kind of got a nice tack down, we can go ahead and work on our next layer right here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint or add glue to these pieces here, because obviously I don't need it all over because these areas are open. So I'm going to start on this piece here for that glue. And what I could actually do too is get that glue right here on the back side, like so. And then come in with that foam brush, and that may be a little bit easier. So it's one of those things is we kind of learn as we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure, once again, from edge to edge, that I have nice coverage. You just need a nice thin layer. So just kind of really rub those pieces out. I'm going to make sure and get these bars right here, trying to avoid getting it all over this. And then we are going to go ahead and go like this. All right, there we go. Now, if you wanted to at this point, you could go ahead and glue in your photos if they're going to always stay before you keep layering. You could definitely do that if you want to. All right, so we're going to go ahead and lay our next piece in just like this. All right, making sure from edge to edge that everything is good to go. And then we're just going to kind of hold this down for just a few seconds. All right. There we go. All right. So I'm just once again just double checking that everything is flush and good to go. And now we're going to move on to our next layer here. So scoot this up here. Same thing. This is probably going to get down in a little bit of those cracks, and that's completely fine. We're just going to brush it out. And once again, when we get to something that's a little bit more intricate, like that top layer, that's where we'll come in with that smaller brush and really cover those. So this one right here, once you start to kind of get to something that has a lot of these holes and things like that, you may want to move on to, you know, something like this where it's nonstick and you can, you know, move your glue around like so, instead of placing it directly on so it don't seep down in all those cracks and crevices. Once again, a little glue goes a long way, mostly paying attention to all of our edges. All right, so now we're going to pop down the next layer right here. All right. You guys can see that glue there, but it's going to completely dry clear, so I'm not concerned about it. There we go. And now we're going to keep going. All right, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and get that glue on here, like I said before, just because we are getting down to a lot more intricate pieces. Right. And keep on going. You guys let me know in the comments below, do you guys own a Glowforge? Is it on your wish list? If you did have a Glowforge, what would be the very first project that you would make? So I'm super excited. I recently just got into, I wanted a Glowforge forever, and I recently just got into it. And I'm telling you guys, I am a diehard fan. So when I cut this out, I actually cut out about 5 of their projects at the same time. And it was just so nice how quick the Glowforge can cut all these projects out. It's just super nice to be able to create a gift. Now, I know a lot of you, if you're just a crafter, it's kind of expensive, but if it's something you're wanting to get into for a small business, I highly recommend. So many things you would be able to sell. We have lots and lots of files over on designbundles.net, so we highly recommend that you check it out. And here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and smooth that. All right, so we are on our very last layer, which is right here. But how cool is this stain stuff? It is absolutely amazing. I love it. All right, and like I said, it has like a built-in wax in it. So it's just really, really cool. Now we're on our very intricate pieces here. And I'm going to go ahead and come in now with that paintbrush, just so I'm not getting glue everywhere. So I'm just going to go into all of these pieces here. And once again, just really making sure these pieces are getting covered, because this is now down to such fine detail and pieces. You don't want these pieces popping up over time. So we're going to go ahead and pay a lot of particular attention to all those little bitty pieces. And then I'll come back to that mustache at the very end with that bigger brush, and possibly even around that dad, just so it makes it a lot easier. All right. But it's so amazing how, like, these little zigzag cuts here, that the Glowforge can even actually do that. It's just absolutely amazing. Okay. So I've got a few more layers here around, just like so. And then we're going to get this border here. We are almost done with this project, guys. And I'm telling you, it would make such a great gift for Father's Day. It would make a great item to sell, whatever you may be doing with this. But I absolutely love it. I think it is so cute. And like I said, such an easy project to make as well. Okay. So now, I'm going here. All right, just like that. Now, another thing that I think would be really pretty too with this design is to come back in, say, with some glitter around just his mustache area, this piece, and like glitter that up with some brown glitter would be really cool too, or even gold glitter to make it stand out. Black would be really cool as well. Just an idea. Right, so I'm just holding this, making sure that everything is nice and flush. And then I'm going to go ahead and press down. So at this point, I'm trying to remove any of that excess, as you guys can see here. So I can take a clean brush and just smooth down anything so I don't have any harsh little lines here. So like I said, I'm coming in with a clean brush for this. And I can wipe off the excess and just smooth any of that out like so. All right, here we go. There we have it. So nice. I'm going to give this just a minute to really glue down and dry down clear so you guys can have a better look at it. Because right now I know that you guys are seeing a lot of that glue and stuff, but you guys can see how thick this is. It is super, super cool. And then once again, right here at the top, this is where you guys are going to be able to insert those photos for dad. But this is how you would gift it, obviously, once your glue is dry. You would gift it like so that way dad can set it on his desk just like this and insert the photos of the kiddos. So great for Father's Day, grandpa, anybody really, an uncle in your life, anybody that you may call dad. This is going to be such a great gift. So like I said, let's just give it just a second for the glue to dry down. And there you guys have it. As you guys can see, it still has a little bit of drying down to do. You guys can see how thick that is. Once again, this is where you would insert the photos. You could definitely finish the back if you want to. So that same wax stain that I was showing you guys, you could just go over the entire thing if you wanted to. So that way the back is obviously good to go. Now, once again, you could definitely have used like a cherry wood or a walnut. This would even be cute with some chalk paint, like I said, as well. This is using that MDF board. These are $2.50 a sheet. So this costed me $5, which still gives me about a half a sheet left, but roughly around $5 to recreate this if you guys use the links and the products that I did for this. But I think this is so cool. I think it's absolutely stunning for Father's Day, and it would make the perfect gift. So once again, if you guys recreate any of the projects that we show you guys, make sure you use #DesignBundles so I can check it out. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you guys hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.